Germinator, he's in the. Ready? We're live? We're live? Right now? Hot mic? Is the mic hot? How many people we got on here? 400,000 or 500,000? 312 billion. We're back.
Chelsea Odom, Group 3, Hannah Gleason, Samina Sachs, Ali Mohal, and Group 4, Maisie Rockwell.
Are you ready? Physically, mentally, and spiritually?
All right, folks, we bring you back here to the ladies' division. I have got a special guest with me here, Bobby Bradley, the legend in disguise.
Yep.
You know, I have a funny little tidbit about Bobby. Yesterday, he was on the we call it goofing around. Some guys will just come out to the range and do that.
Mm-hmm.
He was hitting the LD90, 500 CPM shaft. I've never seen anything like this. It's like a lightning rod. How far did you hit that ball?
730 yards. Actually hit the V on the top of the mountain and came back down.
Yeah,
and
that's
stopped.
absolutely just insane. Here we go.
But yeah, it was impressive to watch you hit today because every ball you hit OB was like between 550 to 575
It's the story
yards.
of my life. My best balls are OB.
I mean, if you're better at English than I am, you're more than welcome to rip off the names of these
Are you
intense
that tired?
competitors. No, I'm good. I'm good. But
I actually go off whenever they go. They'll give the names right there, and I'll go off whatever the box is.
all right, so right now they have it 13 girls. No, you're hitting. We're going 3. Martin Borgmeyer getting it. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Oh,
You're coming in for more than a little bit.
Maybe a little bit.
Give him a mic.
Martin Borgmeyer has just committed to announcing the
Yeah, we
entire
did.
time. He will not leave. It's very kind of him.
Because I want to see Pow Pow. I mean, she's in slot 3. She's my favorite here.
Vamos, pow, pow. All right, so right now there's 13 girls hitting, and they're just going to go full throttle for 18 balls. They're going to hit 3 sets, 6 balls per set, and they're going to take the longest ball from each player. Top 8 are going to go into the quarterfinal matches.
Did you just say 18 balls in a row?
They're going to hit 18 balls total. They're
Oh,
gonna
total.
hit-
Okay.
So Devin Casaza, Kelly Rudney, Gabby Powell, and Savannah Meyer Clement are going to hit first. Devin Casaza has hit really well this year. Kelly Rudney ended up winning out in Hope Sound as well. So we got some good hitters here. Gabby came in second to Kelly Rudney. And Savannah Meyer Clement here in slot number 4. Different mindset here.
Right.
Doesn't matter. You can literally go OB the first 17 balls and just hammer one. And you can get in.
Yep. Instead of getting 8 ball, we're getting 6 balled.
Yep. So we're not going to
While
be
we're
doing
waiting on
any live
Martin's,
scoring as of
microphone
right now.
here, I have a special somebody across the pond, a China plate that we both know, said to say something about cringy. I don't know what cringy means, but it has something to do.
Either, I mean, I'm German. You tell me what it means.
That's a British thing, cringy.
Is it like in China? I mean, it's been a long, long time
Okay.
ago.
Yeah, China plate is Cockney for plate being mate, a mate.
Is that the guy with eyebrows the size of China?
You said it, not me.
James Tate.
No.
Who?
Somebody that's bald.
I don't know who you mean. Maybe Bobby does. Oh, my coachy coach.
Yeah.
Lee Coxey.
Yes.
Oh, and he said it's cringy?
Yeah,
I've never heard him
He said,
say
if you
that.
see Martin, tell him cringy. That's all he said. I said, okay. It must be a British slang word.
Okay, I don't know. I got to find out. So next time we're in a coaching session, I'm going to ask him. But all I see right here is that Pow Pow is pounding it.
Yeah, she is actually flying the ball so good.
Of course, yet. But all these girls right now, I mean, they're this first set is actually pretty packed.
Oh, she just hit a. Oh, keep it in. It's kind of fading. It's kind of pulling right. Okay, Mark.
Now I got a mic.
All right, you're
And
up.
also, John, I got to tell you something here.
Yep.
So I was walking the grid earlier, and what I see out there is everything till the 360 mark is pretty baked.
Yes.
So balls are rolling a lot, and that's also the carry distances that I would expect from these girls. So we could actually see some
Oh,
big
she
numbers
just
in there.
hit a nugget. That is
one of those.
Yes.
Is it going to hold?
Oh no, it's rolled. It's in.
And it's got a big kick too, dude. That's over that little hump. That's a big one.
Yeah, Gabby's holding. She's definitely. What is this her first event?
No, Gabby's ended up finishing runner-up twice this year
Okay.
in her rookie season. So Gabby went to Gabby went to FIU, played college golf. A member of the Bombers and the Bombshells. You know, it's better to say Bombers and Bombshells with a Boston accent. But
Yeah. I just say, God bless America. That's
It is such a good country. In the United States. Let's give a shout out to the United States as well.
The U.S. of A. Welcome again. We're pumping more wattage into your cottage here. We're broadcasting out of a 4-square block radius here, West Bountiful, Utah. I have got Bobby Bradley. I've also got Martin Borgheimer that hands a microphone away.
Yeah, because you said my name wrong.
The Germinator.
It's Borg Martenmeyer. Right now, we're not going to have any live scoring until the final 8. So, as mentioned, each girl is going to get 18 balls to compete. They're going to hit 3 sets. Yep. Longest ball that they have, the top 8 are going to advance. And
Are
go
they
into a
calling
quarter.
numbers at all?
They will, yes.
We just don't have live scoring yet. So where's our paper? I'm very interested in this set here. So on set 2, slot 2, Monica Lieving, I believe I said that right. This woman here out of Colorado. Hang on, here we go. Devin went 365. 363 for Gabby. 306. So Gabby was second.
Yeah, like right now, as mentioned, the ground's hard.
So again, can we recall the distances again? Because I didn't.
365,
Who was that?
Devin Casaza.
Gabby was
All right.
63.
Yeah.
So she was second.
Okay.
The
So
fourth
it's in
one-
the 60s.
Yes.
Okay.
That's a big number.
Folks,
Interested to see
pay
slot
attention
number
to slot
2.
2. Slot 2 yesterday, this woman just got, by Robbie actually of all people, said, hey, you ought to just go. Okay.
So Bobby, why are you interested in slot 2?
She went 363 yesterday. She's the first girl
Yes.
to qualify
Yes.
in the open division for a regional. And I was hitting balls yesterday just to kind of help out the grid callers just seeing balls
Yeah.
land. And there's a lot of rollout, especially if you can land it anywhere between 320 to 350.
Yep. I agree.
It's a really
missed
good
it.
golf swing.
Good move. Really good move there. I agree. Do you know a bit of her background? I would expect her to be a very good golfer, but I don't really know her. It's her first appearance, right?
Yeah.
I mean, she looks nice and controlled, so it looks like she's been in situations like this on a golf course before.
Right.
So she looks
The way she
like
steps into the shot, of course.
she looks like a professional. Great base too.
Oh, that was a
is
good bit.
big ball.
Yeah,
down
that's
the
a very
left.
big ball.
She's
Let's see
taking
how
the Barry
it
Bonds
bounces.
approach right now. A little choke up here. Barry Bonds being one of the best hitters in the history of baseball.
Quickest bat speed in planet.
Short, compact, downhill, loose wrist tension, free swing, cut to head and advice, like bend and knee, sink fist, fastball, middle way, adjusted the off speed.
Can you say that in Russian now?
Martin might be able.
You speak 5 languages, Martin. That should be
Just-
one of
just
them.
because Germany is closer to Russia, or why? I mean, it doesn't make sense, but it's okay. But what I see here again, what I see here is Mary Driscoll in slot 1 is just basically doing what she's doing all the time. She's just hitting bombs because she's the queen of bombs, right? And
Right.
she's got one down the left side. One
this
down
one,
the
if it
right side,
holds,
I would expect.
if
That
it-
is down the right side.
That's going to
again.
hold, unless it kicks right.
But what you see here is actually
That just rolled OB.
it is she's one of the veterans in the sport, and then in slot 2 you got a total rookie, and it would be very interesting to compare the numbers here.
Yeah.
Wind is not really a factor. What do you think?
It's a little bit out of the west, so this is a grid that goes west to east.
East.
And you felt that pickup late in the senior division, and Eddie ended up going 441 yards.
Saw with my own eyes. Got the video. That was insane. Oh, she got it right off.
And I think that is okay.
Yeah, and that's play. It's a ball in play too.
Ladies and gentlemen, next up on the tee in slot 1.
I mean,
Understand.
would be
As we-
interesting to see how many balls she actually got in the grid.
Right.
Because it didn't seem like she actually missed one. It looked like she hit every single one of those in the
Yeah.
grid. It's very impressive.
Arthur and Irene Kochar.
All right, so this is set number 1, group number 3, Hannah Gleason, Samina Sachs, and Allie Mulhall.
I think, yes.
I remember seeing Hannah Gleason in Vegas and in Hobe Sound. Good move. Fast, too. Good ball striker, and I know that she did well in our first couple events. She's a rookie as well. Most of the girls in the tee box right now, it looks like they're all rookies. So
They tied. That's interesting. I was like, would be interesting to see them these numbers
So
compare.
Mary
Exactly the same
and
number.
Monica hit the same. They had the same distance.
Both the same number.
So
365.
that poses the question: do we do a some kind of playoff since they tied, or no?
no, it
Oh, it's
doesn't
best
matter.
of 18.
On the tee now.
Okay, best of 18.
But that's gonna be a good benchmark right now.
Right.
365.
Fire away.
Also, that's very interesting because I saw.
Oh wow! Slot 3 just hit a nugget.
That is a good start.
That is a
yes.
great start.
I almost saw a wall in the grid at
Okay.
365 because the grass is a little longer. It's a little softer in the grid from 365, and all the balls that land between 320 and have a lot of roll
Wow! I
could
mean,
carry like 340 or 320 and end up at 365.
that stays in,
So this
that
grid
just
is
kick-
very interesting.
so slot
the
3
ladies.
just kicked. It kicked back into the grid after it kind of went left. Okay, Martin stepped away from TV timeout for that. Uh-oh, here we go. Another good ball.
Okay.
Looks like slot 1 got a little too quick. Wow, slot 3 is just on fire right now.
Yeah, nice little tight draw.
Yes.
Good ball line, just turnover right to left.
Yeah. Okay, that one is slot 3 is gonna be in play again.
Yeah,
Yep.
she sets her hands. Yeah, very similar to John Graves today. Just the backswing isn't as long. It just gets the hands to set and just
Fires through.
rips.
Right. You know, with this music, I think I need some glow sticks. You know, I hail from the Disco Frisco, so I might take offense to that. Wow, look at that. Another great shot. Folks, in Internet Land, we have got ourselves a competition, that is for sure.
Yeah, Allie Mohol looks good here. She's hit a lot of balls in play. If Robbie, you would know, is Allie Mohol the one that was from Vegas area or Mesquite?
Next up on the tee.
We think so because she.
Slot 1, Maisie Red.
Okay.
In
Is
slot
she-
2, Sophia Erber. Slot 3, Irene Crowchild.
I should know these things, but I'm sad to say that I don't.
Mary Driscoll.
I want to say she's local, but don't quote me on that.
Yeah, I was asking you a question. You're like, oh, it's like, dude, either listen and do the right way.
Hear everything you say.
Yeah, but I'm not wrong, am I? It does. It does. Yeah. Real quick. I got you a water. You're welcome. So, Bobby, who do we have here?
right.
I see the Sweet, Sophia the Sweet.
Yes, Sophia Arthur is the Swede. We're back. We're back. We
are.
I tripped over the dang
But now we're
microphone,
back.
and then I cut the power off to the microphones. You know, something I'm really not good at is using the microphones on the cameras. So I've done a lot of shooting videos over the last like 3 weeks where I forgot to turn the microphone on. So I actually did. That's my own fault for stepping over the auxiliary cord or whatever this extension cord is. But we have 3 absolute living legends. Just ask us, we'll tell you. But we got Matt for Big Lodge's Buchmeier. What's it like living in Dallas?
It's really cool, actually, because it's in the U.S. Right? And there's a lot of long drive events in the U.S. and a lot of golf. So that's really cool. And I believe that's one of the reasons Sophia Arthur is over here as well, because I think she's from Sweden, and this is her first long drive event. So I think she lives in San Diego, and she came out for the first time. And her swing is, I mean, look at her. She looks like an athlete. Don't you think so?
Absolutely. I might have to ask her a couple tips in how I, whatever. I can maybe put on some muscle here. That Peloton's helping me out as far as staying skinny, but I don't really have much muscles. But so what are you seeing here, Ms. Griffin?
So I kind of chatted with the person in slot 1, Maisie. She's a local, 20 years old, up just about 20 minutes north of here. I think this might be her first event, if not second, so she's new. And then Irene, I just know through the Instagram world. She's from Canada. So it's hard because we don't have live numbers. We have to wait just a second for them to call it back.
So yeah, the final 8, we'll have the live scoring and everything for everybody. And once again, each girl's going to get 3 sets of 6 balls. They're just going to take their longest drive. 13 hitters are competing right now, and they're going to take 8 spots. And then it will just be a death match of speed, power, agility. And like I said, this grid is giving it up as far as the ground, which is nice. It's fun. It's fun to actually get on grids where you can get some rollout, and different ball flights people can hit their own shot per se. And but at the end of the day, speed always kills, and a lot of times when people that are extremely accurate and they have a lot of speed, they're going to be there later on in the tournament. So I think the longest ball so far has been 365 yards. Multiple ladies have gone 365, and then I know that we have a 363 in there as well. So
I know that I heard that Sophia had the 298, but I didn't hear the 2 other numbers. But she definitely won the set. So, Bobby, how does it work? Like based on the numbers, are we doing a points format right now? So they're getting 200, 150 points. How does it work?
They're just going full throttle. The 18 balls, you can hit 17 OB, and then if you hammer one 365, and that's in the top 8, you're going to move on to the quarterfinals.
So this is only the seeding, basically.
Pretty much. So yeah, 13 is going to go down to 8.
Okay. That's very interesting because that's a format we've rarely seen before, but it's good for the ladies, I guess. So what do you think in terms of numbers? What would you look for here in Utah? Because we're a little bit high altitude. We're at 4,700 feet altitude right here. The wind is a little bit down off the left. And the ground is, as we said before, is really baked between like 300 and 350. So what kind of launch numbers would you look for?
I think, well, not so much launch numbers as far as yardages. I mean, I think if you're in the mid-40s, that's going to get into the final 8 after what we've seen, maybe even a 330 ball. So, like, the girls that are in at 360, they're easily in, and then they can kind of work on ball flight. They might change the setup of their equipment. Because, we don't show up to a long drive event with one driver. We have multiple setups, which, Martin, you could explain better than most. I mean, what type of setup are you going to be using tomorrow? Like, to start off, like, based off the conditions that you're looking at right now?
I don't really know. I mean, I would probably go for a bit more spin definitely out here. So for you guys out there that have never seen long drive before, we can go up to 48 inches. And actually, a lot of these ladies do. So they're not as tall as most guys, but they still hit fairly long shafts, which is pretty interesting. And these girls are super fast compared to ladies PGA Tour players, so they're way over 100 to 110 miles an hour club head speed. So the balls they produce are somewhat between 160 and 180 miles an hour. And that means these balls would probably need even a little bit more spin compared to the guys that hit over 200, 210, 220 miles an hour. So you definitely want to keep the ball up in the air up here in the mountains so they go as far as possible. I would think that would be my approach.
And a lot of these, the ladies, and even the open division players, they're using a D10 shaft, which is a Taurus Series shaft. It's not a lawn drive setup. It's just a Taurus Series uncut shaft. So, it's probably right a shade under 48 inches. But I was just hitting the D10 on the range just to kind of get a feel for it. And that thing just kicks hard. So, the hardest thing when you're doing these events where you have 13, 15 sets to try to win a tournament is when you're hitting a 4X shaft. You have to fight that thing later on down. So, your stamina needs to be, at a premium. But with these D10 shafts, you can I almost feel like you can relax a little bit and just, use your kinetic sequencing and breathing techniques and, your swing to take over. And you almost feel like you're not getting punched in the face and in the gut and the ribs and your hamstrings hurt and all that when you're, swinging a 4X. So, have you hit the D10 before?
I have, and for me, it's way too soft. I can't unload it correctly, but some people can. So that simply shows how individual it is to find the right club for you. There's no one size fits all, and that's why you don't get these long drive clubs off the shelf.
How do you determine what shaft that is right for you? So somebody listening right now,
yeah,
and they're like, well, how do I start? Where do I go? Not to say just kind of a roadmap. Do you start with an LD20, or do you go a 30, or do you start with a 10? What do you do?
That's a very good question because there's a lot of different approaches to it, but the best way would be to just do a club fitting, maybe with Bobby Peterson or someone who offers these shafts or whatever shaft it might be, and then you just try. You probably go, like most club fitters have a good idea of what would fit your sequence, and then you go from there and just try. And a lot is numbers you actually produce, but a lot is also feel. Because if you feel like you can't really move that thing and your numbers are just a little bit better, you might be better with the one that feels better. But it depends on the philosophy of that club fitter and yourself as a player.
Yeah, if I was getting into the sport right away, I would, especially if you can produce 135 mile per hour club speed, I would almost start off with a 265 to 270 CPM just to kind of get a feel for the longer setup. And then in due time, a lot of guys are using a softer setup, and guys that have been extremely successful in this sport, especially in the Masters division, guys like, Bobby Wilson, Pat Dempsey, they were going to a softer setup and they were extremely successful with it. And they weren't as fast per se as far as ball speed goes, but they kept winning, and at the end of the day, you look at guys like Mobley and ball strikers, and they're always there at the end. And but if I was just getting started out, I'd actually go to a little bit more stout of a setup, nothing too crazy, like a 280, which is 280 and above is like swinging a light pole. But unless you have the mechanics of the golf swing, some of us, coming out of baseball or whatever sport, they kind of muscle through the golf ball. But because, swinging a 240 CPM or a regular flex shaft per se is going to be pretty difficult to keep it on the planet.
My first long drive rig was a crank F6 with a Fujikura. It was almost like a checkered. It was like a black and white shaft.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the stiffness of it. I think it was a single X. But that was, 6-7 years ago, guys were hitting nothing but triples, even quadruple X shafts.
Yep.
And it's very interesting how everything's moved the opposite way.
Well, the one guy that makes the most amount of adjustments throughout an event is Justin James, and him and Kyle Berkshire in the Open division have been the best on the planet the last 6 years. But Justin's been a kid that's been able to make changes as far as ball flight. He can hit a draw, hit a cut, hit it high, hit it low, and change different setups. Because he's such a strong kid, where you'll see him maybe hit a 1X to start off the tournament, and when it comes down to crunch time, because he does have the stamina, he's moving to a 4X shaft, knowing his dispersion is going to be a lot tighter. There you go. So Samina Sachs just hit a good ball here in slot number 3, but Monica 365, yeah, her swing is ridiculous. She looks like a pro. She is a pro. Whatever. In long drive.
In both.
Yeah, she's a pro.
So far, the numbers that I see is a 365 is still in the lead from Monica and Devon, and then we have Gabby at 363, and that's the top three right now that I see.
So yeah, we see Mara Driscoll at 333, and there's a bunch of 320s. So it looks like, I mentioned maybe 340 might be a bubble, but like I said, that was their first set. They might be a little nervous, and once they relax, we're probably going to see some bigger numbers here in sets 2 and 3.
In slot 2, Gabby Powell. In slot 3,
But
Chelsea
on
deck to finish set
kind of as expected,
Irene
Devin Casaza.
Meyer Clement.
Yeah, she's done really well this year in her debut, and Gabby Powell obviously, and but Kelly Redney going OB, not characteristic of her, but she's going to be probably in the 50s, 60s as well. It's a nice flat cut mid ball flight, and just really good hitter out of Canada. It's the Tim Hortons.
Results for that last group.
You ever had Tim Hortons?
161 yards, followed by Samina Sachs.
What'd you think?
17. Kelly Redney, 291.
Yeah, the coffee.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
It is very good.
Ladies and gentlemen, on the tee now. Sophia Arthur, Gabby Powell, Chelsea Odom. Ladies, the grid is clear. Fire away.
She was at 291 here, and Monica won that set at 361, and then we had Samina Sachs at 317. So we get another one in the 60s there.
Yeah. Curious to see now. Gabby was working on the range. Was kind of messing with setups, and because for her, she's just hitting a little too low, so she's going to more of like a triple diamond head, a maverick head with a little bit more loft. So most of the competitors are going to be hitting anywhere between 6 to 8 degree heads, like setups. I mean, just to keep the ball in the air a little bit.
How would that compare to the open division?
I mean, I would say probably average. What do you think? It's about 4 degrees. Like it was somewhere in the 4s. And
You're on the high end, definitely.
yeah,
You're
well,
hitting 5, right?
I'm in a 3. If I hit, oh yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, but that doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I'm too slow. If they had a slow division, I'd be all right. I'm slower than the amateurs.
It sounds like you and I'd be head to head on that one.
Yeah, it's fine. But no, it's funny. Like when you get the most out of a golf ball, guys like Dave Mobley, swing speed obviously matters a ton, especially when you're hitting 5 sets. Which I'll ask you, Martin. And I already know the answer, but I want to know the reason why. Would you rather hit in a heads-up match, double elimination format, or round robin where you hit 5 sets?
So for the first couple rounds, definitely round robin, because the flow of the competition is just so structured, and we all know what to expect. The problem with double elimination that I see is you don't really know when to hit next. We're not super used to it, and I don't see any advantage in double elimination. So I just prefer the round robin, but well, everybody's got their own opinion on that. Okay, I'm good now.
You're good now. We can hear you.
Apparently, I was muted the whole time.
It's all right.
So everybody, that's amazing.
That was
So
one
you-
of the-
So you talked to yourself and you answered questions that weren't even there.
Yeah.
That's amazing, Bobby.
That's-
All right, but
As we always say, it's for the kids.
but thank you for your question. So I prefer the round robin because it's just super structured, and compared to double elimination, you know when you're hitting next and how to warm up for a certain set, etc. And in double elimination, you don't really know, and we're just not as used to it. So it's just a personal preference. I prefer the round robin. But I got one thing for you. So right now, 298 is the bubble.
Yeah.
So right around 300, I would expect, gets you to the next round.
Well, Chelsea Odom just got fired up and said she just hit her personal best. So,
Chelsea Odom, Savannah Meyer Clement, and Maisie Ratcliffe.
yeah.
So, Martin, here's a question that I've been talking about right now. So the 3 got off. What would you go back to the range and continue to hit? I mean, how would you manage that time?
It depends on my set, to be honest. Like sometimes when I'm not happy with what I just did, I want to fix it.
Yes.
Right, but other times, depending on when I hit next, and I have a bit of time, like let's say 10 to 15 minutes,
Right.
I would chill for a little bit. I would drink some water, and then just warm up before my next set, just like a couple minutes before. Because at this stage especially, you don't want to wear yourself out. You still have a lot of hitting till the finals. So you want to be cautious with your energy as well. And that's even worse when you're hitting in the open division. You're basically competing all day.
Right.
But that's a very good question because it's tough. Everybody approaches it a little bit differently. And also it depends on your endurance, right? When you're used to hitting 300, 400 balls a day and you have the time to do that and you take the time to do that, you could just hit all day and you're good.
Yeah, so that was back to a small question of what your response was. You said your first response was, I'm going to go back and work on something if I'm not happy with my set.
Yeah.
Is that a fine line? Because you don't want to work too much?
Yeah, I mean, it depends. Like, let's say I was slicing every single ball, and that's very unusual. Then I would go back and try to figure out why that happened, right? I would maybe ask someone if he shot a video, whatever, and I can figure out what the problem is. And you can't change too much, obviously, during a tournament. You don't want to do anything crazy in your swing or fix your technique, but oftentimes it's just setup.
Right.
It's just a setup, and you want to don't know, be aligned the right way or whatever, stuff like that to figure out. But you're absolutely right. It depends on the player. You don't want to do too much. It's a fine line, and I don't think there's a perfect.
So for me personally today during the senior division, if I had 10 minutes, I only hit like maybe 4 golf balls just to kind of keep the flow. Other than that, I just shut it down because you want to save it for the grid.
So is that like one ball every 2.5 minutes
Something
just
like
to stay
that.
loose?
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. I do that oftentimes too, but it depends. Like I see Kyle bang a lot of golf balls, right? Because he's used to hitting like 1,000 golf balls an hour. Right? It's just insane what he's doing. And there's others that don't even hit at all. I mean, Tom Peppard, he's not hitting golf balls like at all. There he is. He's not hitting golf balls. He's just saving it all for. You're hitting just a couple before you set it, and then you're going out there, right? He's chilling the rest of the time, which is impressive too.
That's confidence there.
Yeah, I agree. How do you approach it, Bobby?
I would hit like 7 irons on the range. That's it. And then I said earlier today, my best balls were always ball number 1 of the set. It seemed like because my first drive of every set was always my best ball. Yeah, because you don't really have too many expectations, especially when we went to 8 balls, which I absolutely hated. You know, because I was always more of a ball striker that put a lot of balls in play. So, like, those extra 2 balls sucked. But, yeah, when you came up and you had 8 balls, like, I'm just going to, put a nice swing on it. And it's just like, oh, I wasn't expecting to put up those numbers, But for me, I would hit 7 irons on the range. I would, something like an orange whip just to try to keep my tempo. But you talked about hitting high and rights. I mean, that means either ball was too forward in my stance or my legs were shot. So, I mean, it's not like I feel like I ever gave myself an opportunity to even do well at the World Championships. I mean, I did like 120 exhibitions for 10 straight years, so. I mean, half the times I'd show up to Worlds at like 3 o'clock in the morning and I'd have a 9 a.m. start. So I'm like, yeah.
That is interesting, though, because a lot of these girls are not very experienced in the sport yet. So they're asking themselves all of these questions.
Right.
How do I do it? And that's what you don't see on the live stream because what's happening behind the tent is not shown.
Well, and I think you've heard 3 different answers from 3 different people. So I think you're going to have to figure out what fits for you.
Yeah. And how
Well,
can
I like
you figure
keeping
it
a
out?
rhythm. It's like it's just a rhythm, It's just when I was pitching, they gave us 6, 7, 8 pitches to warm up, going into the inning, and for me, I just like hitting irons.
So right now, Bobby, I got something for you because the bubble just changed. So the bubble is now at 317 Sabina Sachs. And right now we still have a 365, actually 2 365s in the lead. And right now with 314, you're out. That's big numbers. I mean, for a women's event, this is really, really big numbers. So usually back in the days, what we always said is like the 300 for the girls is the 400 for the boys. So the numbers were somewhat comparable to 100 yards, I would think. But right here, 365, that's a big ball.
Yeah, like I said, it's nice. Yeah, at the end of the day, I always like hitting on roll grids. It makes it a lot more fun. A lot more people come into play, but we mentioned it earlier today that for like 5 years, I felt like we were hitting on carry grids.
Yes, 100%.
And I always say I love the set where I got to hit against Martin Borgmeyer, stud, Mr. 230 here. We were in Rochester. You had to hit it 340 yards carry, or you're hitting it wherever it landed before that was done. And I accidentally hit like the cart path or something. I carried it maybe like 340 and 1 inch, and it rolled out to 380. So I got to get it against Eddie and Will and Martin, and
How'd that work out for
It's
you?
the greatest day of my life.
I bet.
Besides having my son,
I
right?
remember it. Bro.
That's the thing. Like when me and Kyle are doing videos and shoot videos, and he like heel strikes one, and I hit 6 cart pass and outdrive him by like a yard, and I'm like, hey, Kyle,
Scoreboard.
I got you. No, not the scoreboard. It's like
Right.
we're playing this golf, golf, what have you. So funny, but no, it's just crazy. Like these speeds, like I feel like I can get the most out of a golf ball right now. Like if I put up a 192, 193 ball. I'm grunting. I'm like, I hammered that. And then you get someone like Martin or Kyle that comes up there, they're out driving you by 35, 40 yards. So speed kills.
Yeah.
It really does. Especially when the ground's hard. And like guys at these speeds, they're working on landing angles. I mean, there's so much that goes into it when you're as fast as these guys that are in the 220s up to 230s like Kyle. Like you really got to focus on certain things. Like Martin, your biggest focus, well, for me, like if I was Martin, I would work on dispersion, right to left. I mean, Martin hits a nice draw, high draw, very, like Colton Casto, Reed Russell, they hit those balls, but, work on dispersion and just landing angles because they're plenty fast enough. And the more balls you hit and play, the more opportunities you're going to get better bounces. But what are you focusing on right now when you're competing?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. So the thing, especially with the golf balls we're hitting, because balls are being provided by the PLDA, which is top flight golf balls, and we are hitting 4 different colors. And these golf balls are amazing in terms of spin. They're very low spinning. And for the girls right here, they pretty much convert the best they can. But when you're at speeds over 225, we don't see them convert as well. So that means, especially in terms of conversion, you want to keep these balls under control, and that's one of the things. So actually the faster guys are being handicapped a little bit by the golf ball here because, well, there's no real golf ball out there that is built for 230 plus because it's never been a thing for years. And now that's becoming a thing. And actually, as you said, the more balls you hit in the grid, the more chances you have for good bounces, especially when it's a roll grid, when it's not a carry grid. And, well, not every grid is absolutely perfect and super consistent, so you want to hit the right patches. And when you're a Bobby Bradley and you can just aim at that towel down the right side and hit it over and over again, you have a chance, like you said, to hit the 340 mark and hit it to 380.
So the guy that's the best at throttling back was Tim Burke. I mean, Tim's got 2 world championships, 2 runner-ups, and he was the master of getting the most out of the golf ball. He knew that he's like, hey, if I'm at 220, 222, I'm not as efficient if I'm at 216, and that was with the Volvics. And, it's kind of hard to, like, tell yourself, like, I got to train to be slower, so that's kind of, it's kind of difficult. But like I said, you guys are pushing speeds that are just, these golf balls have never, touched before.
No one has ever seen that before. You can simulate it with a robot because when you amp up a robot to over 130 miles an hour speed, it's breaking shafts. It's not decelerating the shaft as efficient as a human.
Right.
And that's why, well, you can't really test it. Because that robot, I don't know of a robot, though, that can produce any higher speeds.
I think
so that's why it's so experimental.
That's why I think they need to bring someone like you or Kyle in to be the testers.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we're doing right now.
Oh, well, okay.
Already.
Well, there you go.
That's basically what we're doing.
Didn't want to let the cat out of the bag, but I didn't know if you were doing that or not. So
and also when you see college players right now that come out with speeds over 130 miles an hour club speed, you definitely see it trending in that direction. We're becoming better athletes. Golfers are actually becoming athletes. And let's say 5 to 10 years down the road, I definitely see 200 plus ball speed out on the tours regularly.
Right.
I definitely do.
The only thing about, being on tour is like, it's not the same as like getting in a rhythm and lawn drive where you're just constantly hitting balls.
No, it's
like,
up and down. Like it's a lot of that.
Yeah.
So if someone can produce 200 mile per hour ball speed, like if they start on hole number 1 with a driver and they don't hit driver until hole 5, I mean, that's moving it. I said we get back to Bryson. I mean, when he was at Wingfoot in 2020, I mean, he was just going to go full gas, and he knew that he could hit it, spray it a little right or left and be in the rough and be a lot. He's like, I'd rather hit out of the rough, from 120 yards than 200. So, but yeah, speed definitely kills. And, I said, you guys like, Bryson that are so good at dispersion and hitting it straight air. It's, so we mentioned earlier it'd be fun, for him to come back out again and compete for a second year at Worlds. And, Martin was with us a couple days ago where
I saw that. You were testing out a net.
Yep. Yeah, the net return. And Bryson went 216. Kyle went 236. But
Again, folks, if you're just tuning in, we are in the ladies division, doing a best of 18 right now. We are in the second set. Actually, third set. I correct myself.
Okay.
It's Irene
Hannah
Crowchild, Hannah Gleason, and Samina Sachs.
Yep.
It's the second group of set 3. So right now, in terms of numbers, what we see in the bubble, again, got higher. So right now it takes 322 to make it to the top 8. Right now it's Sophia Arthur in 8th position right here. It's actually, is it a tie? Is that a tie? So we have a tie for first, and third, fourth, fifth, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Is it 9 guys advancing?
8.
Because right now it's 9 people right at the bubble, and it's not a tie. Let's figure this out real quick.
Don't worry about that. It's only top 8.
Okay, so right now then the bubble is at 323. And it's fairly close actually from 4th place up to the 8th place. So it's 333 for Mary Driscoll in 4th position right now, and then 8th place right now takes 323. So it's fairly close down there. But then you have 3 ladies, Devon Casasa, 365, Monica Living, 365 as well, tied for first, and Gabby Powell, 363 in third. So these are pretty much leading the pack there. And we have 2 more sets to go.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming to the tee now for their third set. In slot 1, Mary Driscoll. Slot 2, Monica Living. Slot 3.
Well, this will be good to see here. Monica Living and Gabby Powell, going heads up.
Yeah, that's super interesting.
Because they've been the most consistent the first 2 sets, per se. Monica going 365 and I believe 361, and then Gabby at 363 and 354.
Don't count out Mary.
Mary's tough.
She's kind of like the female version of Mr. Automatic, Mrs. Automatic or whatever. Just consistent.
Yep. No, she's always there. She puts a lot of balls in play. Good hitter.
There's an Eddie Fernandez sighting.
And I mean, Bobby, you're longer in the game than I am, so I've seen Mary around for years. So has she been competing for a long time, just like you do?
I believe her first year was 2018 or 19. It really was.
Really?
Yeah, it was
Oh,
2018,
wow.
19. She was working with Mitch McDowell.
Thanks for the mention.
Oh, wow. So she isn't around for that long.
No.
I think, do you know how she was found?
Mitch McDowell, yeah, Mitch McDowell.
Oh, did he?
I believe so. Or she was at Top Golf doing
She
a
was
lot
at
of
Top
stuff.
Golf,
Yeah.
right. Oh, here.
All right, we're going to see Gabby Powell's here in slot number 3. Gets her hands to set really well.
Right.
168.
ball speed.
Very good.
So, Fast Eddie Fernandez here is hooked up the TrackMan to Gabby Powell. That last ball was 114 on the club at speed, 168 on the ball with a 310 carry. Tack angle is 8.7. The launch is a little high. 166 on that last one.
You see that ball, Eddie? Where did it go?
You
On
know
the
what?
left
I'm going to go
line?
walk out. I'm
More
going to
like in or more like
Let's-
out?
let's do it. Yeah, quick. A lot easier to see these golf balls because we're right up against the mountain. It's perfect to see these balls. Gabby Powell down the right side. Looking good here. Turning back in. Ooh, big bounce.
Good ball, it's in. A little slower, but 317. Let's go, Gab.
Mary Driscoll with a good ball here down the left side. Let's see how this releases here. She had a good ball, bounced, landed. It looks like it landed right around 330
Oh, good
or
ball.
320.
I think she missed it.
You see that ball from Gabby, Bobby? That was
Yeah, she had-
high,
Yeah.
right amount of spin, about 2,000.
Took a little high on the face. Maybe a little bit.
could actually take a bit more spin right out here, like 2,500 of her speeds. But she's in the mid-60s right now, so she's probably carrying it around 320
I don't necessarily.
around here, I would think.
But see, I think it's fast. If she can carry it 300 yards, it's going to roll out to like 360. Like I heard from that yesterday.
Here, slot number
So,
2.
let it go, Gap.
That's
Monica Leaving
Yeah.
is just ripping it. I mean, she's got such a nice swing.
Yeah, she can do some really nice things. Now let it rip.
There you go. That's a good ball from Gabby.
Down the right side as well. Let's see how it kicks.
She slowed down a little bit. She got up to 115, 169. So look at that carry 300. That might go 360 because that could be a really, really good ball.
But it's so interesting how many new people actually get into the sport.
Right.
That is so cool to see because, I mean, I thought Mary was around forever because I got into the sport in 2018, but apparently she got into it around the same time. But Gabby is completely new. Like, more than half of the faces we see here are completely new, and they're super competitive. So that means 364 for
That's
Gabby.
impressive.
Yeah, and Gabby hit a high draw. So, like, for her, like, I mean, when she tries to actually lift, when she's trying to lift to hit it high, like, it much better ball flight for her. So, I mean, she can swing up, and that's the difference between someone that's, a lawn driver or someone that's a golfer. Like Eddie, I know at the beginning of the year we were mentioning he's played so much golf that he was struggling with his attack angle, swinging up, 2-3 on the ball. Now, today we were able to see 5-6, so, and that's a big difference, and it's a lot easier to hit the ball farther when you're swinging up on it, and you can explain why, Martin.
Because you launch it higher and spin it lower. But out here, you actually want to spin it a bit more. But the high launch is definitely what you want to have in long drive compared to a wedge.
Yeah, Monica went 369.
That is the longest ball of the day in the latest division. And, like, the faces that I see now in this group, like, I think every single one of these girls started competing in the last 2 years. Didn't they?
Correct.
How long is Kelly still around for? 2 years. I mean, I've seen her 2 years on the PLDA tour at least. I haven't seen her during the World Long Drive times. And that is so cool because all you guys out there see these girls compete and you want to find out if you're competitive, you want to
Exactly.
try this, just come by and try. That's all you
Qualifiers.
can do.
Right.
Educate yourself what you got to do, what kind of equipment you want to hit out here, and then just come out and try because there's nothing that compares to doing this.
Well, I'm going to see, Kelly needs to hit a good ball. Like I said, she's a pro. She's got to hit it in the center of the face and just hit her
I agree.
natural ball flight of like a mid-cut.
I agree. This is super critical for Kelly here because I would expect her to advance. And right now, her biggest number is what? Let's check it out real quick.
291.
291. So she needs a 323 to advance here. And let's look closely what she's doing here.
Wow, she's hitting a draw. Like it's almost like her feet are shut, aiming out right. So we didn't see her first 2 sets, but normally her prototypical ball flight is like a mid-cut.
Yeah, I agree. And also what I've seen so far is these balls spun a little bit too low, all of them.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a high toe miss or she's not in sync, but out here you want to spin it a bit more. It was a good ball from Sophia Arthur, but that was OB left.
So what would you say between like 2,000 to 2,400 somewhere in there?
Well, with these ladies at around 160 ball speed, you can actually spin it a bit higher.
I see.
You could go like 2,700 because all you want to do out here is keep the ball up in the air, and what keeps the ball up in the air is
Spin.
speed and spin.
Yep.
Right? So you can easily overspin it when you're 220 ball speed. What at like 160 at this altitude, you can actually go higher.
Correct.
So Kelly is down to her last 2 balls, if I see that correctly. So she's got 2 balls left, and she's got to hit these to actually advance.
And there's one. It stays in.
Yeah, Devin Casaza just hit probably a ball 80, 90 feet. I'm just in the air. I'm just curious to see how far that rolled out because that one's definitely the farthest one of the set. I mean, they were looking at like more of like a 340. They're walking back towards it.
I didn't see Kelly's ball, but she doesn't look happy. So I believe she's down to her last ball, and she's got 20 seconds left. So this is absolutely crucial for her. So
Oh, you talk about a huge bounce. Devin Casaza just hit a mid ball. She blocked it out a little right and turned it over. and it landed and bounced probably 20 feet in the air.
Wow.
I mean, the middle of the grid looks hot. I mean, there's good rollout right now.
Yeah, so there's a couple humps back there. And if you hit a downslope especially, it's going to kick forward more. But also there's some really hard spots, and if you hit those, balls go up and actually bounce forward.
But yeah, I'm curious to see what Devin Casaza just did on that last ball. That was, like I said, mid ball, maybe like 100 feet in the air. Started it out a little right, a little block, but tight draw, and just bounced really high and kicked, straight.
Oh, they're moving it, so they are moving it back. Yeah. Yeah, it's pitted. A little TV timeout here as they move the tee box back about a foot, just because through the day of play, it happens. I always refer to them as long drive divots. What happens with your feet from using the ground?
And that's so interesting to see when you think about it. Like, this ground was used all day, and
That's
now it's completely gone.
Yeah.
Yep. It was funny. I did a lot of events with Kyle Blakely, who's been to the World Championships 12, 13 times. Kyle, his right foot, he would literally dig a crater into the ground. And, it was like, dude, the guy that came here and whatever, he's like the Southern guy. I'm like, he created a crater on our tee box. I'm like, Kyle Blakely? They're like, yep. And I'm like, yeah. So, like, you're really digging in hard with that right foot. And Jeremy Nowak, I mean, it was ridiculous. If you go over there on the practice range and far right slot, you're going to see a crater in the ground, and that's from Jeremy Nowak.
Yeah, he
needs a batter's box. He's a baseball player,
You talking about the swing man?
Yeah, judging by swing, you could tell that he's using the ground.
But I mean, it's a crater. Yeah, I'd have broke my ankle if I put my foot in that thing.
Think about it.
But if you guys have any questions, just fire them off right now.
We haven't seen the questions in a bit. Again, you got Bobby Bradley, Martin. Say your last name so I don't butcher it.
No, Borkmeyer, you're good.
And John Griffin.
Just kidding. Hey, that's okay.
As my son would call him, Martin Burgerfi.
Burgerfi. I get it wrong all the time, and I find it funny, and that's okay. Because I forgive you guys. You're American. That's a German name. That's okay. That's okay.
We eat German food.
Schnitzel, Bratwurst. So it's a top 9 moving on.
First place, Monica Liven. In second at 365, Kevin Casaza.
Okay, we have no questions.
Third at 364, Gabby Powell. In fourth, 339,
Kelly Rutney came in clutch there on the last 2 balls.
Yeah, that's to be expected.
Tied for sixth, 3 ways at 327 yards. Savannah Meyer Clement, Chelsea Odom, and Hannah Gleason. And the ninth
Chelsea is so happy right now. It's the best. Look at the smile on her. I mean, she's just so happy. Great personality as well.
We're going to take a 5-minute break, reseed these final 9 into the round robin, and then we will get started.
Oh, they're doing a round robin. They're going to let it rip.
Now they are. Now they are.
You know what? I like this last minute change because really, honestly, they're only going to they could potentially only hit 4 sets, like if you make it end. So this is nice. They're going to do a round robin where they're going to get 4 more sets, and top points are going to take home the W. Did I make that up?
No, you're good. That was
Okay.
it. The reason we did that is because there's a weird number. We got 13 competitors in the field, so we had to come up with a way to get it to what we call a round number. The best thing we could think of was to cut it down to a 9-player round robin. So from here on out, it's essentially just a normal round robin competition. So
you're gonna, I say 3 wins. 600 points might win it. But there's a huge gap, a humongous gap, and yeah. So I mean, you're looking at Devin Casaza, Monica Living, and and Gabby Powell. I mean, they're just they're putting up consistent numbers too. And Kelly Redney, honestly, I still don't think that she has hit a good ball. So it's really going to come down to those sets when they're matching up against each other. When you got 3, maybe girls in the 360s that if they match up against each other, whoever wins that set more than likely is going to probably win this tournament. So, and I do like this setup just because, pressure kind of busts some pipes here. There's OB sets can come into play, which we didn't really see too many OB sets. I think there was only like 1 the entire time. There was two. So.
Well, we also saw this in the amateur division where a guy was out of it, but then there was a guy out of it in the amateur division, but yet he bursted the bubble for somebody else.
Yeah.
Because he won a set.
Yep.
So he dropped that 400 down to 350 or something like that. So that can happen as well.
We got a 5-minute break, so
Yeah.
the girls are
They're
going to warm back
reseeding
up
right
on the
now,
range.
So the girls are definitely back at the range, trying to stay loose, stay warm, which you really don't need to do when it's 95 degrees outside.
All right, so we're just taking a moment to get everything seated before we get started here. So, again, it's going to be round robin from here on out. Let me double check.
There was a question earlier about the mics. The mics are my mic was actually off. I think it ran out of juice, but we got it fixed. So, taking a TV timeout, otherwise known as a bio break to some. Back shortly.
All right, so I can bring up the scoreboard here now. Round robin's coming back. As you can see here, they're going to hit 4 times, just like we did with the amateur division and the senior division. We'll tally up the points at the end, and we will determine who will be moving on. Don't quote me on this because I don't run the tournament, but if I had to guess, I would say we're going to take the top 4 out of these 9 players, and they will go up, and then we'll cut it down to 2, and then we'll have a winner. The Rockwell Blast Ladies Champion. For those of you just tuning in, our senior champion earlier this morning was Eddie Fernandez, and our amateur champion just after lunch was Connor Starrett. And we will have ourselves a ladies champion to join that circle here in, I'm going to take a guess and say it's going to take approximately an hour and a half to go through the round robin. So maybe an hour and 45 minutes, I would say, before we have ourselves a champion. Give or take.
You guys are efficient.
Yeah. Really all depends on how quickly we can get through the sets. Obviously, the more balls in play, the longer it takes to clean them up between each set. So I mean, we could not have asked for a better day. It's been absolutely beautiful all day. Not too much wind, just enough to feel nice on the skin. A little breeze here and there. It has come from every direction, at least at some point today. We've seen a little bit of all of it. Absolutely no clouds in the sky.
Ball callers, back to the tee box, please. Ball callers to the tee box.
And I think it's around 88
Round 2 of the ladies division.
degrees, I think is what it was earlier.
9-player
So
round robin format.
we just got a call from Seamus to get the grid workers and the callers back on the tee box. So we're about to get started.
At the end of 4 rounds, we will tally up all the points, determine if there are
There's no
4 players
no ghost player in a 9-player field.
the final 4.
So we'll only be using 3 slots until we get to the final 4, at which point we will go to all 4 slots. And then, of course, just 2 for the final 2. So
Groups for set 1 will be Monica Lively, Kelly Ruddy, Chelsea Odom.
and then all right, so on the tee box first, we're going to have Monica Living, Kelly Rudney, and Chelsea Odom. And we will have the live scoring back now that we are back in the round robin formats. So we'll be able to keep everybody updated as the scores come in.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. There it is. Mackenzie Graham, living legend in the booth. We have an absolute... All right, so we're live at the Rockwell Blast here. Ladies division, this is going to be a round-robin format. 4 rounds. Whoever has the most points wins. I'm going to say, well, 800 is going to win it, but anywhere around like 700 points is going to be, I would say was going to take it down.
So, Bobby, can you repeat that? So the format is a round-robin format, but how many people advance? How does it work?
9 hitters,
Yes.
top points, the end.
And that's it?
3 on a tee.
Wow.
So each girl's going to go up against each other.
Yeah.
So one girl will go up against 8 hitters in 4 sets. And it's a point system. 200 points for first, 100 points for second, 50 points for third.
What's going on, Bobby? How you
Hi,
doing?
we're good. We're good. We're live.
So, Bobby, that pretty much means as soon as you come third, you can win.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Whoever hits the longest ball every single set, more than likely going to win this one.
That is very true. But
Who do you got winning? Let's go. Here, let's get down to the bottom of this. Who do you got winning?
that is a very good question because we've seen so many good hitters. I mean, in the first round, we saw 3 of these girls putting 360 plus on the board, and it's going to be one of those. And I really want Pau Pau to do it.
Yeah, and I said being a bombers and bombshells, you know, I got
from
lucky.
Bomb
I got
Squad.
lucky with that name. I was just riding the Peloton, and I was like, oh, I like that name, and that's what we came up with. But you know, Gabby looks phenomenal today. You know, going and hitting it, 360 yards multiple times. But I'm really impressed with Monica Leaving. She's going out there in an open division yesterday. Open local qualifier and qualifying for the regionals. And I don't think that she has any pressure. I mean, she's got a really, really nice golf swing and hitting the center of the club face and putting up big numbers, and has the longest one of the qualifying set at 369 yards. So, I mean,
I agree. And what we see right now, though, is Kelly is in the lead at 321. And then we have Chelsea Odom at 316. And Monica doesn't have a number on the board yet, but now she does.
And that was a miss hit.
333 right there. That was a miss hit. She can actually hit it, definitely hit it in the 60s. But the way she's setting up to the golf ball and her whole preparation, like the pre-shot routine, is so golf-related. It's absolutely amazing how she's hitting that golf ball so far, actually using a golf technique that is a little bit exaggerated. But would you think like that driver she's using right there is a 48 degree?
I don't think it's a 48-degree driver. It might be a 48-inch driver, though.
Yeah, I was.
He's German. He barely speaks English. Barely speaks English.
You're right. I mean, the shaft length and the loft is stuff that I always mix up. I'm so sorry about that. It's not a pitching wedge she's hitting. It's a driver, but it's a 48-inch shaft. Do you think it's 48 inches?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, she's using the shaft that Kyle's using as far as the color goes.
Yeah.
The dark green
Are
shaft.
they all using 5-degree heads?
I don't think so, but Monica just hit a 356 on her last
I'm
ball.
telling you, that's my favorite.
The 356?
No, her.
She is. Okay, that's amazing. So she's taking home the 200 points. I think it was expected considering the first couple rounds here. But, yeah, you're right. 5-degree head. You asked about the 5-degree head, right?
+1
I
maybe?
think she is. It looked like
They
she
all look like
is.
they are, for the most part.
But I know that for sure Gabby is not today, and some of these girls are hitting actual play drivers. Like Devon over there in slot 1 as well, I think. Look, that looks like a Rogue ST head. So that's probably a 9-degree, maybe turned down to 7. But they're definitely hitting big sticks.
All right.
So who do we have here, Bobby?
Devin Casaz is in slot number 1, and she's been in that slot I think every set so far. So I'm feel pretty confident that she's comfortable in that set or in that slot. And her longest ball was 365 yards. So yeah, Devin Casaz in set 1, 2, and 3 both hitting slot number 1. So I mean that's got to be an advantage too. Like sitting in the same slot, you kind of get comfortable. The sight lines and having a place to pick on the grid where you want to hit it. And she's fast. She hits a good ball, and a couple of the balls that I saw, like she just tossed out just a slight bit right with a nice tight draw and getting some good rollout. So if you're just tuning in right now, the ground's hard. It's giving it up today. Longest ball of the day was 441 yards by Edward Michael Joseph, William Bartholomew, Ranches, Sanchez, Vicario, Conchita Martinez, Fernandez, who ended up winning the senior division today. But what do you think the winning number or the farthest drive of this is going to be? Because there is absolutely no wind. It's dead still.
So I don't think 369 or whatever it was 369 right now, right? Yeah, I don't think it's going to be broken if the wind remains the same. But one thing I do know is now every set matters.
Yeah.
The rounds before, you could mess up 2 sets, hit 1 good ball, and you're okay. Now you can only win when you do well every single time.
So do you think it comes into play to fill up the grid more?
As many balls as you can hit in play as possible.
Oh yeah, I agree definitely. Devon at 341, by the way. I want to watch some of these balls.
Let's go out here. We're going to go walk out on the grid real quick.
Devon now at 351. Mary doesn't have a ball in the grid yet, or at least she doesn't have a number on the board. You never know. Maybe sometimes they're just looking for a ball and it's being called back later.
Like right now, I mean, 700 points is technically the bubble for the win. Because like an OB set, you're done. You're out. You're completely out. You literally can go win the next 3 sets. 600 will not win this.
I agree.
So.
And now she posted a number of 329. It's not enough though. Right now in 3rd place, 344 from Hannah Gleason and 351 still in the lead. That is a big number.
Mary Driscoll just hit a good ball. She hit
Which direction?
She hit a mid-ball draw. It didn't. When I say draw, it might have been 5 yards, but it got a nice bounce. I think it's definitely better than 329. Hannah Gleason with a 344. Devin Casaz improving at 351. 319 from Mary Driscoll. There you go. Higher ball flight, Mary. Curious to see the number on that one. That was 40, 50 feet higher than her last ball.
So right now with the lighting, balls are very nice to see up in the air, but I can barely see them land right now, especially with the pink balls. But it seemed like it was a pretty good ball. We're still waiting on the number from Mary being called back on that last one. Devon confirmed at 351 in the lead right now. Still waiting for Mary and Hannah. 330 right there. Not enough to beat 351. That's a big number.
So yeah, right now 350 is a good number, good ball. There's literally no wind. If you're talking about wind, it's straight downwind at a half mile per hour.
Wow, and Hannah hit a 345 on her last ball.
Yeah.
I mean, that's close. And that's like 6 yards, especially out here in this grid. Sometimes that's a matter of luck. Sometimes it isn't.
And you
Would
can
you
see
agree?
a little hump. Yeah, you can see a little hump. Just don't know how far that is. Like if it's the down slope at about 270, 280. Yeah, that's a long way to roll. I'll never forget we were in Denver and that was, I mean, 4 of the girls ended up going 400 yards. You had Troy Mullins.
Was there a sprinkler head involved in any of that?
No, there wasn't. I mean, that was impressive. Chloe Gardner, Sandra Carberg. Yeah.
But now,
Phil- yeah.
finally, my favorite in here is hitting in slot 1, Gabby Powell, Pow from the bomb squad, and Savannah Meyer Clement. Is that the right name? Did I pronounce that right?
Yes.
Is in slot 2, and Bobby, who's hitting in slot 3?
Allie Mulhall, and I watched her hit. She's got a great
She's
swing. She's a
starting with
golfer.
big one.
She's a golfer.
Wow.
Gabby Powell just went right down the middle. Just a nice that one. She just smoothed out there. I mean, you can just tell like she just wanted to get one in play. And normally, sometimes, like I said, that's normally your best ball because you don't have that many expectations just to go out and just take a nice smoothie.
You are right. And I think that ball is not a bad one because it kept in the air for so long that was almost floating in the air because it had a bit of spin on it. But we have a 321 on the board.
We were out a couple days ago just playing promontory, and Gabby hit one, 345. It's funny because her personal best at the time was 346.
Wow.
So she came up a yard short. But today, the 365, her first ball didn't go in play. Didn't look like, and the second one went OB as well.
So right now in here, what we see is, oh yeah, that first one went OB. Wow, that's unusual. That had a, whoa, that kick was probably way left because that definitely kicked in the grid. But what I like about Gabby here especially is her technique is very long drive style. The other 2 girls in here and a lot of girls that we see using a very good golf technique and
It's a long drive style.
yeah, exactly. So that's what I want to talk about now when she's addressing the ball. So what you see is before she's actually taking away the club, you see a lot of foot action already. So she's bouncing right and then left. Look, boom, boom, and then starting the swing. And she's actually using the ground. So her left foot is going backwards when she's hitting the ball. So she's using the ground
So
very
she just
well.
hit her prototypical high draw. So and what Martin's talking about is that a lot of these girls that come in are good golfers. Like you can tell right here, Allie Mulhall is a golfer.
good golfer.
Very good golfer. But Gabby's a golfer as well, but she's able to swing up 8, 10, 11 like attack. So that last ball she launched high with a nice high draw, and she got a big bounce out of it. So I believe she's going to take the lead. Gabby, I'm not gonna say she hit it well, but I'm gonna say it's probably in the 40s.
That was another one, by the way, and
Yeah,
it took
she
a
hit
big
close.
hop.
Yeah, in that middle of the grid right now looks like it's getting some high bounces. So I think Gabby ended up taking that set. I mean, that second ball or that 5th ball stayed in the air for a long time. And it was a big bounce, 312. Wow, 312.
That's a 5th ball, though. That's not the last ball.
320. Wow.
298. Wow.
Interesting.
Didn't
Like I
expect
said,
that.
well, and at the same time, those could be toe strikes, at the end of the day. So, I mean, it looked nice, but like I said, high bounces. But Allie,
Round robin, though, we're going on points right now, correct?
We are.
So,
But 100 points might be the differentiator eventually. You never know. But she's got to beat her. I mean, she hasn't lost yet. She can still win when she's winning that last set because usually, based on how you're being seeded, that very last set is the strongest one. So when she's taking that home, she still has a chance to win.
so Allie Mulhall, like I said, golfer, just hits 6 balls in play. Waiting on Savannah Meyer Clement's numbers to come back. And the wind has shifted a little bit. It's more of a left to right wind now. So a high draw doesn't really benefit you. It's more of a flat cut. So be interested to see if Kelly Rudney makes an adjustment because her, ball flight is a flat cut.
I agree.
good eye on the footwork there, Gabby.
Yeah, it's interesting because I the first time I've seen her actually compete in long drive was in Florida early this year in April. And I was very, very surprised to see her at that level so early because usually when you're transitioning from a golf swing to a long drive swing, it takes a bit of time to feel comfortable doing this because back in the days especially, we've been taught to stay rooted and don't move a lot and just rotate. Yeah, no shifting, no swaying and all that, which can be, if utilized the right way, a huge power source, and she's doing it great.
That's one of the things I admire about your swing is when you do that. It's almost like a trigger move for you.
It is. It is. But John, we just saw a 314 there.
314 and Gabby Powell 312.
So 200, 150.
That is absolutely correct.
Like I said, I think 700 is going to win this.
On the tee now,
Well,
start set 2.
at this point, we would
Gleason,
hope that she doesn't
Monica
score anything
Living,
below
Savannah
100.
Meyer Clement.
Yeah, I mean,
Fire away.
this Monica leaving just looks like she's dialed in. I mean,
Well, she hit 365 in the men's open yesterday.
So powerful. When you look at that swing, that was high right, just barely OB. But when you look at the swing, what I like about it here in slot 2 is she sets so nicely at the top of her backswing. So she's taking her time in the backswing. She's very patient at the top, and then she's exploding when you look at that. Now look at that. She's setting up, aligning everything. That is so powerful. Very nice move.
So that's a question I have for you technically. So you have two kinds of swings. One like that where you set, and you have the other one that's just total speed. It's like wham wham.
It is, yeah.
So is there any method to that madness at all?
And there's a thing called tempo, which is basically the ratio of your backswing and your downswing. And most people strive to have a 3-to-1 ratio, so the backswing is 3 times longer. Potentially, you could speed up the downswing by your backswing, but I mean, there's always outliers, right? If this works for her, and you actually had to do the math, sometimes it can be very beneficial when you take it away quickly, be patient at the top, and then explode, right? So you actually load the shaft the right way and then unload it the right way. But I mean, one thing is certain, she just launched that one.
ouch, that ball's gone. Right now, Savannah Meyer Clements at 314. She's hit 3 balls in play. Hannah Gleason at 324. That was a big ball. That was high launch, low spin, and that kind of had a little bit of a plateau as well.
I see Monica swing, and it reminds me of a theory of a crossbow or something. You pull back that bow and arrow and then release. Like you're pulling back as the backswing, and then you release, bam.
Yeah, that's the loading and unloading I'm talking about. She's loading it like a sling, and then she snaps it. So snappy on the way down, and that's amazing. It sure is. I mean, the results, they speak for themselves because she's just hitting at 357. I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah,
57.
she looks really tough. Really, really tough. Like I said, if I had to pick someone right now, I mean, she's looking phenomenal and extremely consistent with consistently big numbers. And that's the high launch that we're looking for right there.
Did you see that last ball from Savannah? You didn't see it, right? I saw it. It's been her first ball out of bounds. She had 5 balls in the grid, and in that slot with the green balls, that was the first ball in 12 balls. It actually went OB, and that's impressive.
Ali Mulhall. Slot 2, Kelly Rudney. Slot 3, Devin Casaza.
Well, I
On
hope you
back
guys
to
are
finish
listening
set
to a lot
2,
of good
Chelsea
quotes
Odom,
like
Gavin
this.
Powell,
Mark's
Mary
throwing out
Driscoll.
here, kind of in between these sets, and what these players are doing, why they're doing it, etc. Definitely some good nuggets.
So we have a 314 here for 50 points, 324 for 100, and Monica's going to take this. We don't have the last ball back yet in terms of distance, but the 57 is already so strong it's taking home 200 points. Wow, and another one. Wow, that's big. That's 53, 57, 61.
Also that last route, Monica Living, 361 yards.
Oof, her last ball was 361.
Savannah Meyer
Monica looks, looks like she's in the driver's seat right now. I mean, she's had the longest ball the first 3 sets, and now coming out here, putting 3 balls up in the 50s and 60s. She's going to be tough to beat. Really, really tough to beat.
Is this her first event?
I believe so. Yeah. Robbie
So-
Peterson would know better than most. Is this Monica Living's first event? Is
No.
that third?
Third event. Wow. Okay, but she
She found it.
She found it.
She found it.
So if this doesn't get her hooked, what will what will do that? I mean, wow.
I mean, I really like Ali Mulhall's swing. I mean, she can't miss the grid.
So you were talking about Kelly Rodney's flat cut. I mean, right now the wind is completely dead. There's no movement at all. But I truly believe, like you said before, the draw today was kind of her miss it.
I mean, it really looks just from this tee box alone that she's aiming out 20 yards right with her feet. I don't know if that's something that she's been working on. I don't know why. I just if it ain't broke, don't fix it type of deal. Like I just this is I really like Devin Casaza's ball flight too. This is the first time she's hit in slot number 3 too. She's hit 4 sets in slot 1. Kelly Rudney at 345.
Wow.
But yeah, she's fast. Her hands are really fast.
I agree.
Being from Canada, everybody's got a wicked hot slap shot.
Yeah, she's very snappy. I like that. And also for her, with her cut, I would think the red barn is probably her best target.
Yep.
But she's aligned a little right. But we got to ask her afterwards if she did that on purpose or if that was a misalignment. But these high balls, well, she's skying a couple balls here, so something's definitely off. But she's at 345, so that should potentially give her 200 points, depending on how Devon does.
Honestly, I guarantee you, if she took her glasses off, she wouldn't do that. I don't know, like I'm
Really?
serious.
You think so?
Yeah, absolutely. It's so funny. We were hitting a couple weeks ago, and I had put on some new glasses. And for me, I never miss the center of the club face ever. And I was just hitting some weird shots, took the glasses off, and made an adjustment. So I've never seen Kelly hit. I mean, she literally has hit 3 balls, skied them. And sometimes it messes with your depth perception. I can't even say it. When you have veneers, it's really hard to talk half the time,
But you look great. And
Yeah,
also
for
what I
sure.
know is that Kelly is still in the lead.
Yep.
345, and she's taking this.
Allie Mulhall cannot miss the grid. She is 12 for 12.
Finishing off set 2 in slot 1, Chelsea Odom.
And the shortest ball is 83. And then 310 the longest. That is so consistent.
On deck for set 3.
So the grit workers are really getting the work back there with her at the tee box. That's amazing. And what I really like about this grid in general and this tee box is in the back of the grid, you have so many different targets to pick and choose. So every single ball flight has something to work with. That's pretty cool. That's either the mountain, like the houses in the background, the barn, the V, yeah. Then you have the tree on the right. Then obviously you have the tents on the side. You have a lot of stuff to work with, and that's what I really like about this grid.
Yeah. Also, the tree's framed, unlike Mesquite, where it's like so wide open.
Yeah.
The blue ball, you can't see it. You can actually see the blue ball.
I agree. Especially with the sky this blue, it's tough to see most of the time. When it's fairly cloudy, the blue ball is not too bad because it's a great contrast, right? But with a blue sky, wow, it's tough. But out here, we have Pow Pow back at the grid. Pow Pow from the Bomb Squad. In slot 1, we have Chelsea Odom. In slot 2, we have Gabby Powell. And in slot 3, we have Mary Driscoll. 2 rookies, if you can call them rookies, and 1 veteran, if you can call her a veteran. 20. We just learned she started in 2018. She pounded this one. Oh, be right. Just. I agree. And that's interesting because what differentiates the very good players from the mediocre players most of the time is also the mishits. So that mishit from Mary was actually a good shot, but it was just OB. So probably if you would make that grid, let's say 120 yards wide, that was a bad mishit.
Well, that's her adjustment.
But
So you see
I agree.
that happen as well.
I agree.
They overcompensate. So what did she shoot? She
Yeah.
snap hooked it.
Exactly. So she knows what she's doing, and she's got her quick fixes. And if you would make that grid 120 yards wide, she probably wouldn't miss the grid.
Right.
So it's not that severe. Just like that one, overcompensated as well. So she's working through it.
Off a little bit, and then she can go.
Exactly. But she'll figure it out. Good ball there from Pow Pow in slot 2. That came back 335. So she's in the lead right now. And there's your ball from Mary Driscoll. She found it. Down the right side of the grid, high ball flight. I would say medium spin, almost perfect for these conditions, and a big hop. So let's see where that ended up. It's interesting how aggressive she looks like,
Yeah,
right? When she's in the zone, she's like so aggressive. I like it.
Got that Jim Waldron kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, that might be.
Why?
Yeah, it might transfer. Like when you spend a lot of time together.
Long back check swing before he hits.
Definitely some influence there, I would think, right? So, wow, Gabby Powell at 346 on her third ball in the lead right now. Mary Driscoll, her ball went 327. That's so interesting because it's so tough to tell. Bobby, you have the most experience in this sport. I mean, I'm in this sport for 5 years. I cannot differentiate a, let's say, mediocre ball from a very good ball off the face. I can't see it. Can you see it?
Well, yeah, I mean, like, if we go back to Gabby Powell, like, I mean, just based off of the ball flight, you figured her ball went 345, but then it came back 312. And
Yeah.
the one good thing about slot number 4 at Worlds, or most of the times in these tour events, is that we're able to see numbers. So, like, launch, spin, all that, and you'll know immediately, like, oh, that's a 141 smash. You hit that terrible, even though optically it looks different. So when we talked about in exhibitions, no one knows the difference between 360 and 400. So sometimes, even as experienced as we are just watching ball flight, I mean, sometimes you can get, confused slightly, and it's like, like the one that, I'd never in a million years thought that Gabby's ball went 312 last set, and it did, so. But, Mary Driscoll went 348 on the last ball.
She snuck by on that last ball.
Oh,
So,
that's the one you saw.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, that's all it takes, though. We talk about adjustments. She went right, and then she went 3 left, and then figured it out.
I agree. And on that last ball, I mean, that's a 2-yard difference. It's so crazy to think about it. These balls are going 350 yards almost, and the difference is 2 yards. When you see that out in the grid, it's like so little of a difference.
Well, I've always been told about long drive. What is this, a game of inches?
It is. It can be. I mean, that's why they have the 6-inch rule, and a lot of championships have been decided by darn near a foot. I mean, I know that Jeff Flagg ended up winning in 2014 by 21 inches to Jeff Crittenton, where winner took all the money. So just imagine losing a world championship and making $0.
Was that $1,000 per inch?
It's unbelievable, man. It's crazy.
The purse was big back then, too.
Yeah, it was 200. I think it was 250 grand.
Well, then it was like $10,000 an inch. That's insane.
That's
when
not
you think
very
about
nice.
It,
Yeah,
how
no,
far
it's
these
terrible.
balls go.
Oh, we've got a good matchup here.
I mean, honestly, this is unbelievable. Ali Mulhall is just putting on an absolute clinic, hitting balls in play. But, at the end of the day, as we say, this is long drive, the longest balls are going to win. And it's nice to have it. Like, honestly, I really like her. If she's going out to Japan, they have a different structure. They're going to take 3 out of 6 balls in play and total yardages. So someone like an Ali Mulhall would be someone that I would pick as one of the favorites just because of her accuracy. She's hitting a ton of balls in play. So, she maybe, not really come off here being discouraged per se, as far as hitting it, in the 340s and 350s, but 3 balls in play in Japan is better than 2 balls in play, and she could win a world championship.
Also, Bobby, to your point, she's got such an accurate base, almost like Bryson DeChambeau, and she's just getting into the sport. So if she figures out how to increase her speed and not lose the accuracy or just a little bit, she can be in a very good place.
Monica's in the zone. She just really got to
Where did it go? I didn't see it.
Straight.
Just straight down the middle. Wow.
put glasses on.
Look.
She's
Bobby.
been hitting with glasses. She's been hitting with glasses the last couple sets, yeah. But Mary Driscoll's starting to warm up, and that's the veteran in her. Just get loose. Sometimes those first couple sets, it doesn't matter how many times you've teed it up.
Oh, my gosh.
Wow, we got a 350 and a 349. That's even less than the set before. So it's
Oh!
another one.
But let's look at the landing angle right here. This one's kind of fallen out of the sky a little bit. I mean, I would say it's probably like a 45-50 landing, but the hop, big hop.
I
Curious
agree.
to see where that one went because we talked about spin. She spun that, but landing angles, when you're starting to get against the best in the world, she's going to want to lower that landing angle just a little bit because that was somewhat falling out
Look
of
at
the
this,
sky.
Bobby. These 2 girls are still hitting, and the golfer is already done.
Oh, yeah.
So she was pounding through this.
That's a
set.
better ball flight right there.
Wow.
See, look at the landing angle. So where you're talking about her last ball, she ended up hitting at 339 yards. It looked good off the face, but it was falling out of the sky. Now this one had a little bit more of a flatter ball flight.
That might have bounced OB, though.
That's a good question. That's a good question because it kicked left, but I don't know where the line is exactly, but it seemed out. So let's see how it's called back. But it's a 334. So what you never really know when you look at these bounces is it actually a hop that's just going up, or is it a bounce that's going up and forward, right? Because I mean, exactly. So you actually want it to kick forward, obviously. I mean, a kick in general isn't that bad. It didn't check.
All right, we're going to go to the leaderboard real quick. Monica Leaving is in first right now at 400 points. You got Devin Casaza, Kelly Rudney at 300, Mary Driscoll at 250, Allie Mulhall at 250, Hannah Gleason at 200, Gabby Powell at 150, Savannah Meyer Clement at 150, and Chelsea Odom at 100. Now, this is actually their third set, so Monica Leaving is going into she's at 600 points, and so like I said, 700 is going to be the number to win it. Obviously, if she wins the next set, she wins. So she practically has eliminated,
Well,
I
she
mean,
has it in her own hands.
everybody that's in fifth below, they're out. They're completely out. I mean, the only thing that can happen is if Hannah Gleason goes win-win and she goes Monica
What
Leaving
about
goes
Devin?
OB. No, the only person that has an outside chance of winning this currently right now on paper is Hannah Gleason. That's it. She could tie potentially. So, but yeah, Devin Casaza, Kelly Rudney are at 300 points right now, waiting on their next set. So what I was
Devin's
saying,
still in the race.
yep. So Devin Casaza takes a win. She'll have 500 points.
And then she's got to beat
Yeah.
Monica
So yeah, that would give her 700 and her 700.
to possibly tie.
Yep.
And then I hope we're doing a playoff match and we're not going by distances.
Absolutely. No, they'll do a playoff.
That's a good ball from Devin there. A little low spinning, as I said before, up here. Oh, and it kicked Obi left. Well, big kick left. But up here in the mountains, you want to spin a little higher. Keep it up in the air. But she's going to
Yeah.
adapt. 317 on the board. That's a good ball from Chelsea Oldham there.
Don't look shocked.
I'm enjoying watching Chelsea hit.
Well, no, she's having fun. You know, a lot of it's good to take it seriously, but it's also good to have fun. I think she had an attitude of coming out here just getting PRs. You know.
I agree, John. I agree.
Is it 327 or 324? Either way, she's got a new PR.
Right.
Okay, Devon's still in the lead, but definitely not her best number. 317, 2 balls left. Another one from Chelsea. And Devon down the left side. So what do you think about these draws, Bobby?
I mean, they're
That
taking
was
up a
it.
lot of real estate. You know, the ground's hard though, so she might get a little bit of rollout. But that looked like a not necessarily a tumbler, but that was like kind of falling.
That's true. That's very true. So in baseball terms, Bobby, I just learned that this looks. Is that a changeup?
It's a little cambio, as we would say. We don't say change up in baseball. We say cambio. I mean, half the guys that play in the big leagues are from Venezuela, Dominican, Puerto Rico, Cuba. So it's a cambio.
So I don't know what you're talking
That's
about.
it. It's change up in Spanish.
But what I do know is that Devon just won this thing with 323.
That's a big
If-
win for her.
If Savannah's ball is not longer than 323.
Next up on the tee, finishing off set 3, Kelly Rudney in slot 1.
We're waiting for one ball
Slot 2,
that
Gabby
didn't
Powell in
get back
slot
yet.
3.
Is not called back from Savannah.
On deck to start our fourth.
No, that's a 68, so Devon is taking it home. She's got a chance.
So you and I were both hitting in Park City the last couple of days. It's
Yeah.
amazing the climate change from just 20 miles away. It's significantly cooler, more altitude.
I agree, and also breathing is a lot different.
Yes.
So it took me 2 breaths every single time. And I had to catch my breath after hitting 2 balls. So that's rare. But, well, it's different, but it's so amazing because balls go so far. But balls do not only go longer, they also go a lot straighter.
He said earlier, are you living in Dallas?
I do.
Oh, good.
Yeah. I just moved to Dallas for the summer
Last set, Devin Casaza,
4 months ago with my family.
followed by
Yeah.
Savannah Meyer Clement, 298, and Chelsea Odom, 289.
All right, so here's the deal. The person that still has a chance that can win this right now, Monica Leaving, Devin Casaza, Kelly Rudney. Kelly Rudney has to take a win here. Hannah Gleason as well, win-win. But that would put her at 600 points, so Monica Leaving would only have to hit a ball in play in order to knock out Hannah Gleason. So Hannah Gleason has to win this set in order to have an outside chance to tie Monica leaving if Monica leaving goes OB. So, if you're betting in Vegas right now, it's like 5,000 to 1. There's a chance, but not a very big chance. Who did?
Ladies and gentlemen, let's see now, finishing off the third of
So,
four sets. Kelly Wright,
that's fine.
Hannah
All right.
Gabby Powell. Ladies, the grid is clear. Fire away.
So,
And Gabby is starting with a good nugget down the left, but I think it was OB, but it was a good strike. So, Bobby, do any of these girls still have a chance to
Hannah Gleason has a chance.
win this?
So Kelly Rudney has a chance. So Hannah Gleason has to win the set and then win the next set, and hoping that.
It's a lot of what ifs.
Yeah, there's a lot of what ifs. But
So-
yeah, Kelly Rudney can take the win right now and have 500 points along with Devin Casaza. So that someone would have to beat Monica leaving.
So you guys probably saw that miss hit from Hannah, right? But in her defense, I want to say something, right? So she actually hit a divot like a foot before the ball. But I can tell you guys that can happen when you hit these super high angle of attacks. Like in the long drive, you want to attack the ball so high that sometimes there's not enough space, especially when you're new to the game, and you hit a little bit of a divot, a little bit of a chunk before the golf ball, especially in such a situation when you're not used to it. Exactly. It happens. It looks really bad, but it's actually not too far off from a perfect strike. And Gabby is pounding it now, down the middle. Little cut, right down the middle. She's at 32 right now in the lead, and Hannah's down to her last ball. And that is Obi left. No, she's got one more. I'm sorry about that. She's got one ball left. She hit it. And Gabby with another one right down the middle. And that's an interesting ball flight because did you see how that's it started like a cut and then drew back. That's interesting. So that last ball from Kelly is going OB right. So depending on if we're getting any numbers back there, we might have 200 points for Gabby here. Hannah unfortunately has no points to set. We're still waiting for some numbers from Kelly.
Ali Mulhall. In slot 2, Hannah Gleason. In slot 3, Chelsea Odom.
Right now, the only person that could take this right now is Devin Casaza. Unless Kelly Rudney hit a ball in play on the last set, or last couple balls, which it didn't look like, based off of body language.
So no balls in the grid there for both girls. So we have a tie for second and third.
I'm guessing they're going to pay out 3 spots. That's what they did in the senior division. They had 12 hitters. They paid out 3 spots. So the girls that aren't don't win still can make some money here in second and third place. So right now it's tied for third place is Gabby Powell and Mary Driscoll, but Monica Leaving and Devin Casaza are the ones that can win this tournament.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for these guys. For their fourth and final set, we have Ali Mulhall.
So that means, Bobby, it comes down to the last set.
Yep.
So depending on who wins that last thing, that is pretty much the championship match. And that's pretty cool. With one more hitter. That's pretty cool. Now let's see. Hannah is probably, I would think, fairly frustrated right now with her set. So she's probably just going to pound these golf balls as hard as she can. I mean, every single one of us has probably been in such a situation. I mean, when you're not happy with your last set and you're just like, oh, come on, whatever. Let's just pound some golf balls.
For me, like when I not necessarily say I've drop kicked it before, but when I'm trying to lift, you have to reset and just, for me, I always I got to drive the ball to right center field in baseball terms, and try to almost hit it high in the club face, just got to think of something to whatever,
It's
instead of lifting.
You're doing it that way, so you think high in the face. I think low in the face.
I'm trying to get through hit through. I'm trying to hit in baseball terms. I'm trying to hit through 3 baseballs. So if you have a ball and a tee, I want to drive the barrel of the bat through like I'm hitting through 3 baseballs. So in golf, in my downswing, I'm trying to hit through 3 golf balls. I'm trying to extend through the golf ball. Yeah. So for me, like I always tried to inside half of the golf ball and just accelerate my hands through it, trying to hit it almost like I'm trying to hit it over the second baseman's head. Now my path might not be swinging out left to right. It might still be a little bit of a pull like left, like a degree or two, but it's amazing like how much better my ball flight was and how much better I was able to flatten that ball out, and it got up in the air too. So yep. So
well, yeah, I mean, yes, I agree in terms of club head. That's where the club head is accelerating, but the hands are actually already decelerating because the fastest point of the swing is around shaft vertical for the hands, and then you're actually unloading the shaft and kicking it. So it's actually decelerating. You don't feel it that way, obviously, but what I do feel is like we have a tie. 3:04 for these girls, and Hannah is down to her last ball too. So she really, I have a feeling Hannah really wants to hit this in the grid because she didn't have 2 good sets.
Hey, I'll just say this. Ali Mulhall is unbelievable. I mean, the fact that like if Ali can pick up a couple miles per hour here in the next couple weeks, because the World Championships are in a few weeks, I'm going to say she's got a chance to win the World Championships. I don't know if she's going to the Worlds or not. Based off the format, I mean, she literally went 6 for 6, 6 for 6, 6 for 6. Like, did she literally hit 24 balls in play?
I agree with you.
That's never been done. I can guarantee it. No one's ever hit 24 balls in play. That was unbelievable. She's got a chance to win the World Championship. So if she's watching this and she doesn't have a ticket to Japan, I'd try to speed train for the next 2 weeks and get to Japan.
And that's because they add up distances?
Yeah.
3. So you hit 6 balls and 3 count. Wow.
That's where the angle or your attack angle isn't going to matter as much. You're trying to hit more of a golf shot.
Oh wait, Robbie, do they add up the distances or the average? So they add them up and divide them by 3, which is the average. So they do averages. Okay.
Yeah. So if you have 2 in play and somebody else has 3 in play, they win.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I like it. That changes everything, honestly. I actually like that structure too.
You do, obviously.
Of course. Dave Mobley approves that message as well.
Because I had to switch to my play driver to try to hit someone.
I mean,
Results from that last set. Ali Mulhall.
absolutely. I mean, like you look at someone like a Brandon Flynn, then oof.
I agree.
Oof.
I agree.
Justin Moose, he come out of retirement.
I agree.
Guys that are like, would sit at like 208, 210. That's where you want to be. Like today, Matt Nicole. I mean, Matt Nicole is a great ball striker as well.
I agree.
So. Yep.
All right, so we have Savannah, Mary, and Kelly, and all they try to do right now probably is break their PRs, I would think, because they know they can't win this thing. Is any of these girls still short of the money?
Well, right now, Mary Driscoll, if she takes a win, then she'll have 550 points. She would be on the bubble with Gabby Powell. Her and Gabby, I believe, right now have Ali Mulhall has 500 points. So Ali has 500 points. The only one that can surpass, Ali for third is going to be Mary Driscoll and Gabby Powell. So Gabby Powell's not in this set. So if Mary wins this set, she'll have 550 points, which means Gabby will have to beat Monica Leaving and Devin Casaza.
And that would put her in the top 3.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And technically, if Devin Casaza were to go out of bounds, she would have 500 points as well. So Mary Driscoll potentially or Gabby Powell could take second place.
So this set, though, is not for the win. It's either for PRs or money.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, right now, Mary Driscoll has no balls on the board right now. And right now, for her, she just got to hit a ball and play. Kelly Redney's still working on. Like I said, if she took off her glasses, she'd hit it and play. Like, no lie. I mean, she only has 2 balls to go, so probably it's not going to work.
You truly believe?
I truly believe it's her glasses. Her depth perception's off.
I think I've seen her hit with the glasses before.
I know, but they might be.
Obviously, she's struggling. She's not at her best. I've seen her better.
Yeah. Yep. And we're sitting here with Tom Peppard, world champion. He said it messes up his depth perception as well. And you're talking in a tenth of an inch
Mary just hit a nugget down the right side, and she liked
Right.
it. So
Yep.
let's see how that comes back. She definitely got a ball in play.
Yeah. And also, who I'm impressed with, I mean, let's not forget, Savannah Meyer Clements hit a lot of balls in play as well, and she's hitting it farther. So, someone like her will be someone that you would, take a look at the World Championships too if she goes out to Japan. No, she's been hitting this year. So the girls that come back and watch this, I mean, accuracy is going to be at a premium.
Mary liked the thing again, and she hit another nugget, a flat cut down the right side, and that stayed in too. Definitely, she has 2 marks, I would think. So the numbers are not called back yet, but I expect them to come back longer than 321. I would expect right now. So let's see if that's becoming real. So the ball fight was amazing. Bore 5 and 6, both.
Ladies and gentlemen, at the conclusion of this group, we will tally up all the points, determine if there are any ties that need to be broken. And we will announce the top 4 players advancing to the final 4.
Based off of Martin Borgmeier's reaction, yeah.
There you go. 23 and a 47.
So yeah, right now Mary Driscoll is at 550 points. So she will. The only person that can tie her technically is Gabby Powell. And like I said, if Devin Casaza does go OB, then Gabby could potentially tie if she wins this set. But right now it's really coming up to the win. The only people that can win this is Devin Casaza and Monica Leaving. So here's the championship right now. We're going to be featuring slot number 2 and slot number 3. Gabby Powell has a chance to make the money with a win. She would be tied with Mary Driscoll. So essentially there could be 3 ties for second. So if Devin Casaza comes in third, Gabby wins, and then Monica takes second. Monica wins the tournament, and then you have 3 ties at 550 points.
So this is the championship match.
It's a championship. It's
That's
for all
what
the
it
marbles.
is. That's
So-
what it is.
I mean, I just Monica Leavings looked great all day, and obviously yesterday going up against the men. Got to pick her to win it.
And we got a ball in the grid for Davin, definitely. A low one down the middle. Might be a runner. We'll see.
All right, Gabby just hit a nice little tight draw rolling out. This is a big ball from Gabby. You say big ball, probably 335, 340. Right now, just a ball. I mean, she's free and loose. So, be right, Devin Casaza.
So we got a 25 for Davin here on the first ball. Monica no balls in the grid yet.
It's extremely important for Monica Leaving to hit a ball in play.
That ain't true. We're going forward 2-1.
All right. So we just got a last minute information here that this is not the championship match. The good part, though, is that you guys back home will see a lot more golf swings.
We just wanted you guys to be paying attention. You're welcome.
How about
Look
that
at the
for some
smile on
suspense,
Robbie
huh?
Peterson's face right now. He's like, dude, we got to hit. We got more hitting to go. Who knew this? We just wanted to trick everybody. Hi.
Isn't that
We got
cool,
some
Bobby?
We have some legends standing right behind us right now.
I see it
Mark
right here.
Costello, an absolute stud.
And
Mr. 455.
And I tell you one thing, that guy looks so much better with a clean hat.
Wow, like this throws a wrench in everything, Robbie. I mean, we're standing next to each other now, and we said this maybe because you have 47 things going on right now, and we're like, this is whoever has the most points wins, and we were told yes. So, Devin Casaza 344, Monica Leaving 340. Gabby Powell's got 3 balls in play, but down to her last ball. So right now that we have more information that there's going to be 4 down to 2 down to 1, there's more hitting to go. All right, Devin Casaza just building on her set, 352 yards. Monica Leaving 344. All right, Devin Casaz is going to take down that set. 352 yards.
Results in that last group. Devin Casaza, 352 yards, followed by Monica Laving, 344.
Well, things just got
and Gabby
interesting.
Powell, 328.
So here we go. Here's your top four. Devin Casaza, Monica Leaving, Mary Driscoll, and Allie Mulhall.
So we thought. Allie's kind of your wild card there, you know, the grid filler.
So, I mean, you know, and when you hit a lot of balls in play, things happen. You know, and right now, you just never know. The OB set's always in play, especially when it's, you know, and right now it's single elimination. You got 4 guys on the tee box, 4 ladies on the tee box. I'm pretty confident that Allie Mulhall is going to hit a ball in play.
I think you're right. Get some bucket speed up in the next few weeks. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We appreciate it. So we have just finished our first round robin set. So we went from 8, now we're down to 4. Are we now going into double elimination? No.
4 on the tee, top 2.
Out of how many sets?
All right, it's a semifinal round.
There we go.
4 hitters, 2 move on to the finals. Someone's going to win. Someone's going to win. But Devin Casaza actually is going to take the number 1 seed because she matched up against Monica Leaving in the last set and ended up taking down the set. So that's how they decide for, you know, the playoffs. Whoever hits the ball farther gets a higher seed.
With 500 points, Allie Mulhall.
And, you know, Devin Casaza has been sitting in slot 1. I think this will be her 5th set hitting in slot 1, so I'm pretty sure that she's comfortable with that slot. And then you got, Monica Leaving, Mary Driscoll, and Allie Mulhall.
So, Bobby,
Getting
I
after
just
it.
want to have a good understanding here of what's happening next. So now we got the top 4, and they hit 4 players at the same time, and then the top 2 go and have the championship match. That's how it's done?
Absolutely.
That's how it's done. All right, so let's all agree on that and do that.
Don't quote us on that.
Don't quote us, okay? You just never know because a couple things have changed. You know, a little bit different setup than the senior division that had the same amount of players. So, but I do like the fact that the ladies are hitting more golf balls. This is exciting. You can cut the tension with a butter knife. Butter. But once again, we're live in Salt Lake City, Utah, West Bountiful, Utah. Wind coming out of the west at about 1 mile per hour, west to east grid.
It's about 95 degrees.
It is. There's no humidity whatsoever. So if you don't have chapstick out here, you're going to have some chapped lips.
I'm on my 20th bottle of water.
Oh, yeah,
I
that's-
use the restroom once in 2 days. It's so dehydrating here.
Talking about water, I'm going to get us some waters.
Let's go get
boys.
some water.
I'm going to get us some waters.
All right, if you guys have any questions right now.
The ladies' final 4. In slot 1, Devin Casaza. In slot 2, Mary Driscoll. In slot 3, Allie Mulhall. And slot 4, Monica Laving.
You know what's great about this? It's a lot of fresh faces. You know, new. I hate to say this word, new blood, but it's nice. It's just like an
2.5
infusion of,
minutes. The top
you know,
2 longest drive.
new energy, new everything.
Yep. Well, really good hitters out right now. And once again, like I said, if I'm sitting in the booth and you're forcing me to pick a winner, I mean, Monica Leaving just based off of the distances that she was able to put up earlier on. The question for me is stamina. How is she feeling? She hit in a local qualifier yesterday and a regional, so she's had a lot of balls, in competition, which, takes a toll on anybody. I don't care, if you're Kyle Berkshire or you're,
Also,
in the best shape ever.
Don't count on Mary because she can catch one.
Mary's tough. Mary's just a very, very tough competitor who's always there. She's always there at the end. And
As Ivan Drago would say in Rocky,
Right now,
he's a piece of iron. Not break.
she's just tough. She gets stronger as an event goes on. It's kind of like the starting pitcher. If they can get through the first couple innings, they're going to run deep in every event, and that's what Mary Driscoll's done throughout her career. So right now, we're in the semifinals. 4 girls are going to go down to 2. We have Devin Casaza in slot 1, Mary Driscoll, Allie Mulhall, and Monica Leaving. And once again, Allie Mulhall has put on a clinic of all clinics. Can't miss
Doing
this.
that. Wow.
And she's using a like a Taurus series setup. She's using it almost looks like it's an M6 head or an M5 head, and she's using an Oban shaft. Like Oban is just a Taurus series shaft. It's a very high end, $450, $500 shaft. But normally when you get to those higher end shafts, especially the Taurus series shafts, their dispersion is going to be a lot tighter, meaning that she's going to have a nice tight ball flight. Her spin's going to be a little bit lower, more than likely, and she's going to keep a lot of balls in play. So
I agree, but one thing I can tell you, Monica just sent a hammer down the middle, right at the red barn. I expect this to come back at 350. So that was an absolute hammer. And this again, 345, not a bad call. That one was a little more right, but good too. No other balls in the grid yet, or a call back.
I just like her composure too. She's just calm. She's
It's like
seasoned pro.
automatic. Mrs. Automatic.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's
Mary
clean
just
golf.
let go of one. It stayed-
Too much room. Ooh, flat cut, pull cut right here, mid ball launch. That ball's gone. That ball's hammered. I'd love to see. That's the best ball that I've seen. But like I said, we don't have the TrackMan stats in slot number 4. I would love to know if she hit that in the center of the face because that was a beautiful ball flight.
I agree. That one was a bit further left, so it seemed like 45 was down the middle, 37 a bit more right, and now that one a bit more left. Let's see where it ends up.
Oof.
Oh, you like that one, Bobby?
Just a little pull cut Johnny right there. She just pulls it about 5 yards there, mid ball launch, and then it's a little 5-yard cut. Those are nice ball flights right there. And those blue golf balls are almost impossible to see, but we saw those.
Right, and as of right now, Monica would be in the final as well as Mary Driscoll, but it's very tight right now.
I mean, the way she's hitting this, I want to ask her for lessons. I mean, this is insane.
348, fourth ball, so that was the longest one. Ugh, putting on an absolute clinic right now. That ball is that was a little bit lower of a ball flight. And like I said, being like watching from the tee box, I like seeing the ball flight there, and you can't really see the descent angle per se with the blue golf ball. But we want to thank the Rocky Mountains for giving us a nice view here, looking down the line.
I agree.
So
is that actually part of the Rockies?
it is the Rockies, yeah.
Well, it's the Wasatch, but yeah, it's up the Rocky Mountain Range.
Interesting, nice fun fact there. It's definitely amazing out here, high altitude, nice weather, and a 348 bomb from Monica leaving.
Yep, and that was just a pull. I mean, ball was dead straight, maybe 2 yards a cut, but that was just a mid to high launch. I mean, it's like, let's just say, in open division, that's not a high launch person.
Did you see what just happened? What did just happen there?
All right, so Ali Mulhall
We got
ended
a
up picking.
322, and she's taken home.
No.
Mary just got proven right.
30 for 30. We literally need to do an ESPN video of this. Ali Mulhall literally has not gotten OB yet.
Also, she's in the final. She is in the final.
You called it.
Yep.
You called
This girl needs to compete at the World Championships. No lie. I mean, she's putting on a clinic. This has never been done before. She's literally 30 for 30.
I mean,
That's unbelievable. I mean,
I want to see her with a 5-degree head and a little stiffer shaft and some spring.
well, I think that setup is great for her. She just needs, seriously, all she needs is more speed, just a little bit. She doesn't need to do anything with that setup. She's literally just putting on a stripe show.
She's playing golf right now.
Yep.
Imagine she would do a little bit of a transition. Wow. That's really impressive.
She gets her hands to set at the top and just rips. It's so much fun to watch.
I mean, talking backswing length, we could compare the two now. I mean, Monica is, I would say, a little bit past parallel, just a little bit, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
Not super crazy, but a little bit. But Allie is like, I would say that's a 3 1/4 swing compared to Monica. When you look at it, it's very interesting how she's producing so much power.
That even though Allie maybe jumps a little bit more up in through transition, I think Mary Monica uses the ground more.
I agree.
Are we going to paint the picture? Do we need to use the announcer voice?
36.
Lady, ready? Ladies and gentlemen, we are live in West Bountiful, Utah. PLDA Ladies Division Championship. Ali Mulhall, Monica leaving. Slot number 1, slot number 2. That's odd. She hit it right in the middle. Ali Mulhall, it's one in play. This one's a little floaty down the right side. This one's hanging in there.
I think it's in. It was a
Oh,
hard kick,
wow.
right?
Monica Leaving got a really bad bounce. Her ball kicked dead right, and that one might have gone OB. So,
Oh, it did.
Techno version of Star Wars.
OB
It
right.
did go OB, and that is OB as well.
And here's the deal. A number's on the board. You go 0 for your first 2 or 3, you feel it.
You
You're
do.
feeling it.
Especially as soon as the number from Allie pops up, and there is definitely a number. And she knows, obviously, that there's going to be a number.
And the thing is, too, is that when you know that you're a
95.
faster,
Hey, Allie just hit her first ball OB. Wow.
wow, 31 for 32.
And
OB
that
right.
one is...
Is that going to stay in? Look at that when it's fighting back.
It
Now
is
let's
a
see the
little
kick.
high in the face, though. I don't know how far that's going to be, but definitely not her best effort. Is it enough?
Turn.
And that thing is right down the middle from Ellie again, and that might get a bit better kick. And she's already down to her last ball. That's a 39. Wow. From Monica, that might be the win.
Now she's feeling it. Now she just
Flat. But that's a lot of swings. Like I said, she
It
hit a lot of
is.
balls yesterday, so it'd be nice to see her with, say fresh legs, going into
301
the
there, and that is a big ball from Ellie here, right down the middle, right at the red barn. And it got a kick. It actually got a kick and a bit of a rollout. So let's see how far that goes. It's definitely in the grid left side. Might be longer than 301, definitely. And Monica's down to her last ball.
What a
23,
show.
and she knows she has it. 23 though from Allie. Is that her longest ball? Definitely one of her longer ones. So she definitely hit the right balls at the right time. That you can tell. And now she's setting up. 13 seconds.
Yeah, I remember watching her hit in Mesquite for the first time, and she'd hit 6 balls in like a minute and 15 seconds, and they were all in play.
Nope. That
Doesn't
thing
matter.
does not count.
If you're the pitcher, you didn't want to be a pitcher on that last one.
She's done
that
that
on
a lot.
purpose.
She's missed that last ball.
Ladies and gentlemen, with a drive of 359
Yeah.
yards, Monica Living, ladies champion.
Turned it up. It's off.
Can we get Allie up here real quick as well? It's so hard to get the wins here.
All right, so right now Ryan and Bobby are standing up,
In the semifinals,
interviewing.
and I think you finished 22 of 24.
We just did.
How old are you? Where are you going to be next? At the World Championship? I think she deserves a huge round of applause.
I'm going to turn my microphone on. Congratulations. That was awesome.
Thank you.
We were talking about your stamina. How do you feel? I mean, you hit a lot of balls yesterday to qualify for the regional division and now hitting a lot of sets. Like how do you feel?
I mean, I'm tired. Yeah, no, I'm tired. Honestly, like in the beginning, I just kind of focused on good tempo, like getting a ball on the grid. I wasn't trying to kill it. And I think sometimes that can result in even further distances when you're just going smooth. So yeah, I'm tired though.
Yeah, I mean, you flighted it nice. Are you going to go out to Japan?
I'm not going to Japan, no.
Well, I mean, you hit a lot of balls in play, too. You might have to reconsider because, you went up against Allie, who literally, I think she went 30 for 30. It was
That was
unbelievable.
insane. More accurate than me. Yeah.
Well, congratulations on your win. Like I said, winning is contagious. So, like I said, too bad you can't take this on to Japan, but it was fun to watch. And I posted you earlier today, but 363 yards. Do you think you had that in the tank this week?
Yeah. Oh my God. On that one, no. I honestly, Bobby convinced me to do it. I wasn't even gonna do it. So I kind of just did it for practice. And again, just like focused on tempo, and then out of nowhere, just came out, and yeah, felt really good.
So people that like are consumed by numbers and speed, like what are your numbers right now?
Yeah, I mean, the fastest I've recorded that I've personally seen is 175 ball speed, and then I think 125 club head speed.
That's moving it. I mean, that's Chloe Gardner won in 2019 with those numbers. So I don't know. Maybe reconsider. I don't know if you got a backer now, but you might have to go to Japan because the structure is going to be a little bit different. You got to hit 3 out of 6 balls in play. Obviously, you're a golfer, so hitting 3 out of 6 balls in play isn't going to be as difficult. You might have to change. You talked about your setup being more of a tour series setup, your first couple events, and go a long drive event. But if you did compete in Japan, would you go to a tour series setup or a long drive setup based off of hitting 3 out of 6 balls in play?
That's a really good question. I feel like it would have to be almost a game time decision, like what I'm feeling, but I feel more accurate with the longer driver, I really do, and more consistent. Whenever I play my standard, I can like pop it up or, hit it super low. So I definitely noticed more consistency for myself out there. So yeah, probably the longer Callaway and Patterson.
Got it. Well, enjoy your win. That's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, we're out. We're going to be back tomorrow, the Open Division. Watch the boys just go after it, putting up some big numbers. So tomorrow, if there is west to east wind, you're going to be able to see golf balls like Eddie did in that last set at 440 yards. The grid goes out to 469. If there's, 10, 15 miles per hour, there's golf balls that could potentially go out of the grid. But anyways, thanks for tuning in. I want to thank Robbie Peterson. You guys don't see this. The amount of work that this kid puts in behind the scenes is unbelievable. So, Robbie, thank you, and thanks for the opportunity. As the late, great Dick Sanford always said, good night, God bless, and drive